Pick 219. Who cares about pick 219? I do. Lions fans should, because Brad Holmes has proven the ability to hit on wide receivers. He's proven not necessarily, yeah, he has proven that he can hit on wide receivers, but he's also proven the ability to hit in the late rounds. So pick 219 shouldn't be a big deal, but we got a wide receiver by the name of Antoine Green, and he's out of North Carolina. And I want to spend some time talking about this guy. We're going to talk about his athletic profile. We're going to talk about his production, and we're going to talk about his tape, because you need to look at all three things when looking at any player at any position. But let's be honest, for the average fan, it's a lot easier for us to look at tape of a running back, a wide receiver, a quarterback, an offensive lineman. The offensive side is easier to judge because we're used to watching the offensive side more. It's just what we did when we played video games, all these different things. And so when you're looking at a wide receiver, I'm looking for a few different things. I'm looking at, can he run multiple routes on the route tree? Can he run a slant? Can he run it in? Can he run it out? Can he run a fade? Can he run a post? Can he run a fly? Can he run, whatever you want to call these things? They have different names. And I saw Antoine, Mr. Green, run every single route on the route tree. I saw him play X. I saw him play Z. I saw him use his speed to stretch the field. I saw him use some pretty good route running to cut off and make a lot of catches on the sideline. I saw him come back to help his quarterback. He did a various array of things. He's just a guy that has experience. And this stats kind of show to that experience. His first 3 years at North Carolina, he didn't really do a lot. He didn't get on the field much. He didn't get a lot going for him. And then all of a sudden his junior year, he's like, okay, that's not bad. 19.7 yards per catch. He has a knack for the big play. 31 catches for 612 yards. That's really good. What can you do in your fifth year? Like, it's kind of nuts because they got it's the 2020 in there. Everybody gets another year, depending on how many games you play, all that kind of stuff. So he's able to get a redshirt senior year. No big deal. Very normal. And he gets 43 catches for 798 yards at 18.6 a pop and 7 touchdowns. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a productive football season. That is a very productive football season. And I know that North Carolina is good at throwing the football. So then you look at the stats and you're like, okay, so that's good. They got May, and a lot of the highlights I saw were from the year before when they still had good quarterback play. And it's like, okay, great. Maybe he just had a good quarterback thrown to him. So I started looking, and we're going to get into the athletic profile in a minute. But when watching the tape, I was looking for a couple things. Does he have breakaway speed? In other words, can he get behind a defense and stay behind a defense? And the answer to that was honestly a resounding yes. And I think just based on the average yards per catch and a long of 80 yards, that that's accurate. He has breakaway speed. You can't consistently catch deep balls without having breakaway speed. Because defenders, you make short gains into medium gains stay medium, and long are explosive. That's what speed does, because the defender has to back off. You get them in an extra extra step in the back pedal. And then when you cut off your route, you have the ability to turn up the field and run more than you normally would if somebody's pressing you tight because they don't respect their speed over the top. So I saw that respect. I also saw him breaking away and staying behind the defense. So then I went to the hands. And I'm like, what does that look like for him? Can he make contested catches as well? Because I don't want a player living either fully on contested catches or fully on wide open catches. I want to see them both. I want to see the route running ability to get open and the smarts to find holes and gaps in the zone. And I want to see the ability to make a contested catch when you can't get open, because sometimes you just will have good defense being played against you. You need a contested catch. His frame at 6'2", 200 pounds makes him a contributor for contested catches. And he was good at that. He said he thinks his strength, I'm reading a quote from him now, I think my strength as a player is I can stretch the field. Great. I agree. That was very obvious on the tape. All right. He said, but this is what I thought was interesting. I can read a defense pretty well, do whatever I need to do to get open. I've got a big body, tall. I have great hands and playmaking ability. So he understands what he does well. It is his body, his speed, and his mind. And I'm glad he understands that, because when you look at the tape, one thing you will notice is that it takes him a little bit of time to get up to full speed. He's not that immediate burst person. Um, but if he understands his limitations, if he understands what he does well, he can be good. So with the recent letting go of Quintez Cephas off this team, I look at Green as a better version of Cephas. Cephas was a short to intermediate range guy. Green can take the top off. Cephas was like a 4.58 guy. All right. There's a big difference between a 4.58 and a 4.47. One is considered a guy who can take the top off the defense. One is considered a liability and slow. Okay. That's just the way it goes. So let's look at how this guy is athletically. Here are the things that hurt him. His hand size, 9 inches across. So I was worried about that, but he's a contested catch machine. Like, he actually did a really good job with that. His vertical isn't that great, but you don't see it on the field. Like, he's one of those guys that looks better than he tests. He still had a pretty decent broad jump. His shuttle and his cone show the lack of super burst, but the 10 and 20-yard splits don't necessarily show that. So I think this is a guy that, if you want him to be like your future for, I don't know, Josh Reynolds or Marvin Jones, like that third guy that is playing on the outside, that's a great role. I think he has the ability to do that. And so I'm just really excited to see what he's going to bring to this team. If he's one of the guys that you keep on the practice squad for a year, if he's one of the guys that maybe makes the roster and is on the team, and you let St. Brown and Raymond take the slot, and then he's your fifth wide receiver, while Jameson's suspended, or if there's an injury to Reynolds or to Jones or something like that, I think he has the ability to do that. So we've had 2 videos now, one on Coda, all right, and one on Green. So one on Coda, one on Green, and one is a slot guy. I think that's Coda. He's destined for the slot, even at 6'3". And you have Green, who's destined for the outside at 6'2". And I think both guys have a place. I don't think both make this team, but I think the Detroit Lions quietly found a future wide receiver in one of these two, and they did not have to spend a lot to get it. And that's the beauty of having a good team. When you have a St. Brown, when you have a Jameson Williams, you don't need another stud starting wide receiver. You just need a guy who can go out there and win one-on-one matchups when nobody's paying attention to him. That's what you need. Comment below. Let me know, do you like the tape? Do you like watching this guy? Was it a product of the system? What do you think it was? What I know is that I enjoyed watching him. I thought he had pretty good tape. I wasn't blown away, but I was surprised at how good it was for the 219th pick. Let me know your thoughts. See you on the next one.